I really like the 9 Easter egg. I've beaten it once before, but I wanted to play it again because I never actually made a video on it. I didn't record any gameplay. Um, it is one of the easiest Easter eggs on this game, on BO4. It's got a lot of steps, but despite that, it's pretty easy, and it can be done very quickly. If you know what you're doing, of course. I start off by doing the basics. I'm completing the challenges here in the spawn area, and by doing that, I think it's essential for a part of the Easter egg. But you also get a pack-a-punched pistol out of it, which is awesome. That thing is just really powerful to have right at the start. Oh, and you get an extra life, by the way. So that's one example of how this Easter egg is very forgiving. I feel like the difficulty is noticeably easier than all the other maps in this game. So you get your extra life, and you get your pack-a-punched pistol just for doing a couple of easy challenges at the beginning. And then you can move on to building the shield and just doing some of the beginning setup stuff. And the layout is pretty easy. It's just a big square. You just go around and start doing the pack-a-punch requirements. Hit the gong, kill the 4 champions, collect the heads, and while you're doing that, you can be building the shield and using your specialist weapon a little bit here and there just to level it up to make your life easier a little bit later. And yeah, there's nothing too crazy about this first part. You just get into kind of a routine. Once you've done this part a few times, it's just kind of automatic. You go around, build the shield, get the pack punch open. The mystery box spawns in the same spot every time, which I really like. It starts out in the same spot every time. And I usually grab 1 or 2 mystery box weapons right at the beginning, because I'm going to be hitting the box anyways. Getting the wonder weapon through the box is just so much faster and easier than getting it from the side Easter egg, I find anyway. And I'm going to want to get homunculus too from the box. So that's what I'm hitting the box for, is a decent weapon just to start off, but mostly just hitting it for wonder weapon and homunculus, because my secondary I'm going to use is the Spitfire. I fully pack a bunch of Spitfire, and when it has that operator mod on it that makes it shoot really fast, and it's awesome. You're pretty much unstoppable with that thing. And I do tend to run out of ammo in the boss fight sometimes. That's why I put Bandolier Bandit on. You don't really need it, but I like to have it for extra security, because if you run out of ammo in the boss fight and there's no max ammos left, you're pretty much screwed. There's nothing you can do. So there we go. I've got Pack-a-Punch open. And now it's time to collect the ingredients for the mixture you have to put on the ground in the Danu area. So I'm just running through the fire to get negative crowd affinity, and then they throw the poop down, which is kind of funny, because this game feels like the storyline is very intense. It takes itself pretty seriously, and then there's these silly Easter egg steps, like you have to collect poop, and then on another map, on Togdertoten, you have to collect jars of pee. It's like, what the heck? It's kind of weird, but now this part is one of the parts that can be tricky, a little bit tedious. It's trying to find this blue skull. It's the part that I think everybody gets frustrated with at one time or another, and mostly because it's so hard to see. Even if you check all the 12 spots, you can miss it pretty easily because it's very faint. Eventually I found it though, and I grabbed the Spitfire. I'm going to be pack-punching that, hitting the box for homunculus, and yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing at this point. I'm just getting the stuff now to prepare myself for later. It's better to just get the homunculus, get the Serket's Kiss wonder weapon, just get it sooner rather than later. Get that out of the way. And having the shield is really it's just overpowered. I find when you shoot the gun on the shield, it's such a good shield, and that's another example of why there I got the skull. This is another example of why the map it's definitely easier. You get things like an overpowered shield weapon, and the one thing that's kind of lacking, I guess, is the wonder weapon on this map in terms of damage. Like, this wonder weapon looks cool and it serves a valuable purpose when you're doing the Easter egg, but I find it's not very good at killing zombies. Like, you can do the charge thing where it makes the zombies hover in the air and stuff like that, but it's not super practical. Like, there's way better wonder weapons out there. The Hellion is better than a lot of the wonder weapons in this game. Um, so yeah, not too much exciting stuff going on here. Grabbing some perks, just kind of passing the rounds, because that's what a lot of this Easter egg is. You have to pass through the rounds. Once you get the piece of wood from the spawn area, you have to put it into the fire to turn it into charcoal, and you have to wait a couple rounds for that. And then when you've got all the ingredients, you put it into the mixture bowl, and then you have to, okay, so there's the piece of wood. I just picked it up. So you have to put the ingredients in the bowl, and you have to wait like 2 or 3 rounds. So there, I just put the wood in. Now I've got to pass the rounds till at least round 12 to get that. So and during these times when you're in between steps, you can kind of just get all set up. That's when I get my perks, do my pack punching, etc., stuff like that. So now that I've got the wood, I'm going to go put all the ingredients into the bowl, assuming that I have all of them at this point. I'm not 100% sure. And the tigers, I find, can be actually one of the deadliest things in this map. Tigers are easy to kill, but they do a lot of damage, and they strike very fast. Okay, so the mixture's in. Now by round 15, I should be able to move on to the next part of the Easter egg. And again, just surviving in the spawn area. This is a good area to survive when you just have to pass the rounds. I find that it's easy. Other than the fire, you got to watch out for the fire, but it's a nice area to kind of survive. So I've got the mixture. I'm going to go put it on the ground in the Danu Tower, and then you've got to get Firebomb on your weapon, and again you've got to wait a couple rounds. So I'm getting Firebomb on my Spitfire, and this is an interesting map in terms of alternate ammo types, because there's 2 different steps in the Easter egg that require you to have a different alternate ammo type. So it's good that you end up getting a lot of points, because you do have to do a lot of pack punching. You have to keep repack punching it until you get the one you need on 2 separate occasions. So now I've passed through a few rounds, and I'm able to start this part. I sometimes have trouble with this part where you have to kill a zombie right over top of this thing. I don't know why, but for some reason it doesn't work for me sometimes. Anyways, it worked really easily there. And then I have also some trouble with this part where you have to stand on this thing and interact with it. I can't figure out if you just have to stand there or if you have to stand and hold the interact button, and sometimes it doesn't work. It ended up working. What I did was I just stood still, held the interact button for what felt like a really long time. I don't know why you have to sit there for so long, but anyways. Now you're into this part where you have to shoot the spores or whatever. So with the Spitfire fully upgraded and with stock option and with Homunculus, this part is super easy. Throw a Homunculus and you just shoot this thing constantly. And you get a max ammo every time, so you don't have to worry about that. So this part is super easy. That's why I try to hit the box early, get that Homunculus before this step. It just makes it goes from a difficult step to a completely easy step once you have all that. And then you got to find the bull symbols, and there's 9 different spots where they can spawn. Just got to look at a guide or a video. It can be tough to memorize all the spots, but anyways, pretty easy step. And then the challenges in the Raw Tower. This part is one of the trickier parts. It is a little bit difficult to survive, but more than that, it's very easy to kill the wrong type of zombie. It's very easy to accidentally kill the wrong type of enemy, and so you have to be really careful with what you're shooting at. But anyways, if you just take it slow and you're careful, you can get it done. And then this part where you have to shoot the 4 screws, that's pretty easy. Spitfire is good for that. The shield weapon is good for that. And then you have to kill zombies with the what's it called? Kilowatt alternate ammo type. But killing the gladiators and brawlers is so much easier. You can get that done in a couple rounds if you just focus on killing those bigger enemies in those. And then the part where you have to survive in the spawn area and you have unlimited specialist weapon, super easy. This part can be tricky to line up your 3 shots there with the wonder weapon, but you just have to do a little bit of trial and error and eventually get it. And as you can see, I bought the Titan off the wall, and the reason for that is I was just trying to get something from the box. I couldn't get anything good, so I just decided, you know what, I need something with a lot of ammo for the boss fight. So that's what I did. And This is another part where if you're not prepared, it can be difficult. This is where the Hellion would come in handy, but I don't want to use it without PhD. But eventually you'll get it. You just survive by throwing your homunculus, using your specialist when you can, and you eventually get through it. That's a bit of a tedious part, but then you're onto the boss fight. So what I've been doing here is just throwing homunculuses, shooting with my Spitfire, but trying to shoot a little bit with the Titan to kill those gladiators and brawlers to save ammo. You gotta be careful on that part because they're constantly throwing their axes at you. But once you're through that part, then you're onto the elephants. And again, Spitfire's all you need here. And I used a temporal gift just to make those max ammos stay spawned in for longer. And that's a key thing because then you can actually wait till you run out of ammo and then the max ammos are still there. So you just got to absolutely focus on this guy's chains, shoot a lot of bullets. It takes a lot to get those off, but once you've got the armor off, then it really doesn't take much to finish off the elephant. The shield is great for that, and that's another thing. You got to take care of your shield. If your shield breaks during the boss fight, that makes it a whole lot harder. So try to keep your shield safe. And then the second elephant comes out. I believe he's got more health. It takes more shots to get the chains off. I could be wrong about that, but it just feels that way. But using a combination of shield... Oh, and I ran out of shield ammo there. But that's fine, because again, I have a lot of Spitfire ammo. I used a stock option here, and that makes it so much easier. You don't have to worry about reloading. Just absolutely unload on those chains. And throwing homunculuses is so key here. I always keep moving, because those guys are constantly shooting those explosives at you. And if you get into trouble, of course, specialist, homunculus, and always keep moving and having that quick revive in the modifier slot so you can get that extra speed boost is really important. It's not essential, but I find it helps me a lot. And eventually, that's it. You just take down the second elephant. And I kept shooting because I kind of wasn't 100% sure when to stop. But as soon as you stop getting red hit markers, that's when you know you've done it. And that's it. I really like this Easter egg. It's one of the easiest ones on BO4. And despite having a lot of steps, it doesn't take very long. I think I've got it done in just over an hour before, maybe an hour and a half. And that's not super fast, but that's fast for me. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.